Okay, today I'm going to be replacing the aerial on my Columbus system on my 2011 Skoda Yeti. So this is the RNS-510 sat-nav unit, which is the stereo that appears in other Volkswagen Group vehicles such as Volkswagens and possibly Audis, but this is a Skoda, as you can see, Skoda Auto. And the reason I'm replacing the aerial is because one day it just failed to work. The sat-nav couldn't acquire any satellites. I tried a soft reset, and I tried disconnecting the battery. Nothing worked. It just couldn't find any satellites. So I thought I'll buy a spare aerial from eBay. One of these, which was about £8, €10. And I thought I'd give that a try and see if that fixed the problem. So the first step on this model is just to remove this fascia plate, which you just use these plastic spudgers or something soft that isn't going to damage the plastic or the metal surround, and you just gently pry around the corners wherever you can get in. Just gently pry around and it should just pop off. Try not to apply too much force and work around in an even fashion. And it's just these plastic tabs that you want to loosen. They probably could break if you applied too much force, but if you just work your way around easily, you shouldn't do too much damage. And then you're met with the actual system here, which is held on by 4 T20 Torx head screws. So you just use a screwdriver to undo those, and they shouldn't be too tight. Oops. And then the system should just pull out like so. Careful you don't pull too far because there's not too much length on the cables. And the aerial is this blue connection here, and it can be quite tricky if you don't know what kind of plastic adapter is on. I'll just pause and readjust. Okay, so what you need to do to unclip this particular connector is pry up the little white tab there. Like that. And you should just simply get my hand in there. Simply squeeze it in. And pull it out. I'm making that seem a bit more difficult, but that's because I'm trying to film at the same time. And then that just comes out. You can probably just tuck that back in there somewhere. You don't want to remove it because that is routed through the A-pillar, the head lining, and goes to the roof aerial. So just try and stash that back somewhere where it's not going to interfere with any of the vents or any of the other wiring. And then to attach the new one, it's simply a case of, this is a slightly different connector on it, but just reversive removal, popping it straight on like that. And when I booted up the system after I installed the new aerial, I did a soft reset, which includes holding down these 2 arrows and this button here. Hold them down until the system shuts off, and then just leave it and it should start up on its own again. And then when it starts up, you hit map. Okay, now we've booted up. So you hit map and you're presented with the map screen, and then if you hit map again, you'll have this this picture-in-picture display, and it shows you how many satellites you've acquired. At the moment I've just got 1 because it's still booting up, but before I had 0 of 0, so now it's got 1 of 12, so it's got 12 that it can communicate with and 1 that it's locked onto. And as the system boots up, that number should go up to 3, 4, 5. I'm not sure how many it goes up to, but as soon as you've got 3, then you've got a good lock and you can use your sat nav. So the second part is then what to do with the new aerial. The end of the aerial looks like this, and you don't want this too buried beneath the dashboard because it needs a good it needs to be able to communicate with the satellites without anything really in between it. So I found the best place to mount it is under this top cubby. So what you do is remove the inner pad lining, and then inside you've got two Torx head screws, again here and just over there. Try and find a short screwdriver, even a long screwdriver should come in at an angle, and you should be able to get it off. And then it simply just pops out, and you've got access to the underside of the dashboard. And from there, I can feed through here and come up in here. And so you've got a couple of options. There's space to either mount it on the underside of this. It's got a sticky pad on the back of it already. I'm not sure how well it will hold, but it should be enough just to keep it securely in place. Or if you like, you could route it underneath here. This is all quite thin. Careful not to interfere with the airbag on this side. You're probably best off going under here somewhere. And that should do the job. And you should have a fully working sat-nav again. And then to replace everything, it's just the reverse of removal. Careful in installing the face so that you don't misalign one of the clips because they could break. But then you should have a fully working RNS-510 sat-nav.